So, people, we have Dr. Swetha Raja in the court with us today. So, she has earned Doctor Prefix in the state successfully and is a graduate from UCSF School of Dentistry. She has a 3-year-old who shared the whole DDS journey with her, beginning from the Caapid application. So, all their mothers, this is for you. Hello, Swetha, how have you been? And how does it feel like to be finally called as a dentist in US?
Hi, Leena. Thank you for inviting me to this. It's been a wonderful journey. It's also been stressful at the same time. But if you had asked me this question last week, you would have seen me scream and shout and jump around. But I can't be the same for 1 week, so I've just mellowed down a little bit. But yes, like you said, it's truly a dream come true moment. Yeah, I'm working on applying for jobs and things like that. So life has to keep going on. So yeah.
Yeah. So there are myriad of mother applicants who would be inspired with your journey. Would you like to tell them about yourself? Like, where are you from? What inspired to pursue you to pursue American dentistry?
Sure. I come from the southern part of India, from Chennai. I was there for 22 years of my life. I grew up there and with my family. I literally never stayed outside my secure bubble for all throughout my life till I decided to come to the United States. The major motivating factor for me to move to the United States was that my brother moved here for his master's, and we are only 11 months apart. That kind of, he was the closest family I had after my parents. So I wanted to be closer to him. That's what made me move to the United States. But initially when I moved, I had no co-signer. I didn't know about the process. So I took up a master's degree just because there was no way we could afford it. So I just wanted to take it slow. So I came here to pursue my master's in oral biology. So I did that from University of Louisville in 2015. I started it in December of 2015. And I graduated from that in 2017. So during my master's in oral biology, I was preparing for my application sometime midway when we were able to find a co-signer. I started my journey into DDS, and then I was just preparing my application, and everything fell in place. When I got accepted in UCSF in 2019, that was my second application cycle. That's when I got my acceptance from UCSF.
Okay, awesome. So, you were pregnant during your interviews or during your applications?
Yes, I was.
Question that would inspire a lot of mothers. So I want to bring that.
Sure. I did when I was applying. I was engaged, but I wasn't married, and we didn't even plan to have a baby. But right after my interview, during my first application cycle, I came out. I came to know that I was pregnant, but it did not stop me from pursuing it, only because I had a really good support system. And we all did this for all these years. We studied, and we were waiting to get in. So I just felt like we should keep going. So I applied and I interviewed when I was 33 weeks pregnant. That was the only difficult part was to find a good cloth to fit in. That was the most difficult part for me. And then I was feeding my baby during the interviews during my second cycle. So I was using all the lactation room and things like that. So it was a good experience. It was more like bursting and coming out of the bubble, because those were things I never knew existed, and I had to do it. So it was, and my baby was a year old when I started the program. And everything was, it's all in our mind. Initially, I had my own issues too, like how can I leave a 1-year-old in daycare, but such is life. And she survived too. She's very happy kid, so I have no regrets, to be honest.
That's really nice. So can you rewind the day of your interview and bench test and share the experience with us?
Oh, sure. When I interviewed in, UCSF, usually the application deadline to submit the application is in June, and they start sending out invitations, I think the second or the first Friday in September.
Mhm.
And they usually call about 90 applicants for 28. When I interviewed, they had 28 spots and they invited 90 applicants. And they sent it out first week of September. And then mid October, they give you 4 days to practice in the sim lab. And then you have the interview and the bench exam. Uh, Bench exam came first and then the interview. So bench exam, by the time I interviewed at UCSF and gave the bench, I was comfortable with the environment because I'd already given it in the past. And also, I think one other factor that was a little comforting was that I already had my acceptance from Buffalo. So I already, like it's comforting. Otherwise, it's a very nervous journey altogether. It's like, will I get in? Will I get in?
That's
Should
a
I apply
constant
another year?
pressure on
Right.
your
So
mind. Yeah.
yeah, so I didn't have that pressure. And also I stay in the Bay Area, so UCSF was just like 9 miles away from home. And so it was like I just stayed at home. I didn't have to travel for the interview. So it was a good experience altogether. The bench exam, they asked for 2 crown preps. 2 crown preps, one full gold and one anterior crown prep, and no class twos. And interview was very relaxed. I think my interview was with the program director himself when I gave the interview. So, and it was just really general questions about me and what I value the most. And then some ethical questions, but again, with ethics, there's no right and wrong. It's just the way you say things. So it went very well. But I did not get the acceptance the first round itself. I was waitlisted first in UCSF, and then I got my acceptance when people declined after the deadline to submit the non-refundable fee. So I got my acceptance on the 10th of December, I remember.
Oh, that's the mark date.
Yeah, that day too, I was jumping. I was all over the place.
Was it the same after 1 week you were settled down?
Yeah, it took me more than that. I was just running and screaming to everyone that I got into UCSF. Because, when you're going to be home and, you don't have to relocate, it's a whole new feeling. And I always wanted to get into UCSF for the name. And even before I came to US, when you Google and see, UCSF is like one of the top schools to get into. At least that's what we see when we are not in the US. So that was my dream school. So it was a dream come true moment for me.
So since you are now an alumni of UCSF, so can you tell our prospective student audience why they should choose your school for DDS?
Well, number one, the ranking wise, it's amazing. The program itself, it's a 2-year program, but they have the international dental students go into the, at least till, I don't know about the current situation because things have been changing, but till recently we have a separate externship site called Buchanan Dental Center. So first year we were put at prognosis with the domestic students, where we learned the axiom, paperwork, and general clinic flow, and then we moved to Buchanan, where it was just too fast and a lot of patients, amazing faculty to learn from. They're all very experienced, and like literally you can do veneers, you can do crowns, name it, you can do it, and they all have different ways of doing it. So you learn so many ways of doing things, extraction on the floor, everything. So the externship site was a whole new experience. We gained a lot of good, clinical exposure there, and also implants too. I think UCSF has subsidized rates for implants, the student implant program, if the patient qualifies. So we also have a lot of opportunity to learn about implants, and we also have something called as the ISO time. So you have free time where you can do things that you really like. So if there are people, let's say they are interested in research, then they can contact research faculty and they can do research during that time. I had classmates who did research. I had classmates who were a part of like leadership positions. And this community dental clinic every Wednesday evening till I was there. But then because of COVID, things changed. I'm sure they will resume it soon. So you have the community experience where you do like free, you have more clinical exposure, and then they also have, you can also utilize that time if you're interested in a particular residency, then you can just go shadow and then introduce yourself and get going with the application processes. So you have a lot of opportunities, like name it, you have it. You have the time to do it too, because they give you that time to do it. And even clinical wise, they have amazing faculty who literally, like, I remember the first time we were in clinics, it was just so new. Like I had never done a comprehensive exam before, and you definitely take your time in doing one. So the first time I was there, I freaked out. My first patient I took forever, but then they're so warm, and they want you to learn and grow. And some of them are IDP. The faculty were a part of IDP, so they kind of understand how the international dental program works. So they easily transition you from preclinicals to clinics. So, and there's no stress whatsoever. That's what I felt like. You want time off, they give you time off. Like you have everything. So that's why. And preventive dentistry, that's something that was very new for me. I didn't know about Canberra till I started UCSF, and Dr. Featherstone was the former dean, who's the pioneer of Canberra. So we practice a lot of Canberra, like preventive dentistry. And for someone who's interested in pediatrics, I think that was like a really good exposure altogether. Yeah.
Oh, so it's like home away from home with all the facilities and education.
That's true. I mean, all schools are good, no doubt, but it's also about location. It's about the cost, how much we can pay, and it's about like staying close to family and friends. And San Francisco, if you choose UCSF, you literally know what you can do. You know, you have so much to do around in and around San Francisco that you will not have one weekend where it will be boring. You'll have something or the other to do. You can go for hikes, you can go for kayaking, name it, you can do it. So location wise too, it's a very pleasant weather too. So lots of activities, not just UCSF, the SF area is just so good that you can enjoy while you learn. So all these would be the top reasons I can think of. For me, it was family. I wanted to stay closer to family, and I had a baby too. I didn't want to relocate. I would have if I did not get in, but that was major reason for me. But I can think of other reasons why people should choose UCSF.
Okay. So what was your biggest challenge in the whole journey?
For me, it was so. After doing all the hard work, I like to keep myself very busy. I just like to do a lot of work, but for me, it was also about taking a step back and taking care of the family, because I had a little one and I was just so attached to her, because during the application process, I didn't have a full-time job. I was part-time working as an assistant, but also taking care of the little one. So I spent a lot of time with her. So for me, the major thing was, to the separation anxiety was real in my case. And she kept crying too, because she had only seen my face for, like 1 year. So that was the biggest, to balance the two, the life and career was the biggest challenge for me in particular. Because it was not easy. It did not, I mean, everything definitely, like, I had great parents and parents-in-law who came in to help us, and everything was here. But still, as a mother, I felt like I could have spent more time with her. So even when I had the free time, sometimes I used to be like, well, I want to go in to do something. At the same time, the other side of me was just like, I can just take today off and enjoy with my little one. So I had that opportunity at UCSF. So again, for people who have kids, UCSF is a great school because everybody understands. My class too, like, all my classmates were so supportive. Majority of them also had babies, and so I didn't worry about play dates. I could just take them to my classmates' place, and we all had a really good time. So that was the most difficult part, according to me.
Okay. And you had an added difficulty with visa processing, and you told that you weren't able to find the co-signer. So how did you tackle that part of your life?
I don't know how many of you can relate to this, but initially I was on my F1 visa, and after graduation, I relocated to the Bay Area, and finding a job was difficult because I was very transparent about the fact that I was pregnant, and there are restrictions in taking X-rays, which is what dental assistants are expected to do. So finding a job was very difficult, and University of Buffalo had waitlisted me the previous cycle. And when I asked them, what was wrong with my application, they only mentioned the fact that my clinical experience was lesser compared to. So if there was a place I could improve, they said, go ahead and do some clinical experience. So dental assisting was so important to me. But at the same time, I was pregnant. And at the same time, I needed a job right away because I was on my OPT. So it was just very, very difficult to convince people. I had lost a number of days. So when you're on your F1, you only have 120 days of unemployment the whole year. So I had lost a couple of days in just finding a job. And then once I found a job, I had to do all the certifications, and none of the certifications were available in the Bay Area back then. So I had to go to San Diego to do all the certifications and come back to just get the job. And also, I had lost all the 120 days during like pregnancy. I wasn't entitled to any of the governmental leaves because you have to pay a minimum amount of taxes, and dental assisting didn't even qualify for that because I was only working for like 3 months before that. So I didn't qualify for anything. So my maternity leave was also a part of the unemployment days. And then I didn't have any support after October. So I literally like completed my 120 days. And I had to go back to India to change my visa status because, it wouldn't have worked out otherwise. So I went back to India in January, when exactly on the 120th day. An interesting fact is I didn't know my daughter needed an OCI card. We went to the airport thinking, she would be allowed to India, but then they asked me for her visa, and I didn't have a visa for her. So it was one extra day of pressure for me because I had to literally call the Indian embassy and let them know. I think I overthought the whole process of that 120 days because how do people count? Nobody knows, right? So then I thought H4 is good. So I moved to H4 visa. And it's been very pleasant ever since because I didn't have to show any documents. And yeah, it was a struggle. But for people who want to transition from F1 to H4, I know the program is 2 years, and you can do that like even during your first year to get the opportunity to do the OPT. So you have some time to move from H4 to F1 and from F1 to H4. So I do know a little bit about the visa thing. So if anyone needs like immediate answers, I can give my few cents, but I'm not the lawyer or anything, but I just know from my experience that these are the things
it's
that are
really
needed.
hard to go through that process, right? Like you are an immigrant in a new country, but now you are an EDS. So like,
Who doesn't know that the child needs an OCI? Like, I didn't. I had no idea. Because I was so immersed into getting into the DDS and just dentistry that anything outside that was just so new to me. I didn't spend so much time outside because it really takes a toll on mental health. Like, you have to finish this process and then submit application supplemental, and then make sure school got it, and then prepare for the interview. And it was just a very overwhelming experience altogether, but no regrets. Now it's all over.
It's all done. Yeah. Now you will be working. So what are your long-term plans? And like, did you get the job immediately after like the graduation?
Yeah, good news is our international dentists, we are blessed in that way that we do get offers. Like I also have working interviews coming up. I'm waiting for my license, so I need to wait for that. But also I do have a DSO offer at this point. So I don't think there's any problem in getting a job. There's no worry. We will all get one for sure. I don't doubt that at all. But my long-term goal would be to do pediatric dentistry. I'm really interested in, after going through this pregnancy during DDS and, taking care of a baby and, picking her up from childcare, I've just developed a natural tendency to like babies. So I would love to treat children and, get going with that. So my long-term goal is that, but I cannot afford to do it right now because I have a lot of debt to clear. So I'll definitely think about it a few years down the lane. So right now I'm looking at opportunities where I get to be able to treat children as well. So, I can build that on my, just see if that's a good, like if I would be a good fit for peds. It's not the same as having a child, right? To treat a child is different. So
you did mention about the preventive dentistry too, right? UCSF. So you have all that experience. So that's really nice. So like if you have one piece of advice for all the applicants who are applying to UCSF, what would that be?
First thing, please do have a lot of me time, because this is a very, very stressful phase of your life. And I have been there, and I can tell you that it's just a phase, it will pass. So don't take it too personally. Sometimes luck plays an important role too. What if they did not see your application? You might be an amazing person, like you might have the best experiences, but they might not have seen it, because they have so many applications. So don't take it to your heart. Continue working on it, because I think it's truly worth it. And talk to people who are in the dental field, because I mean, at least they will be able to associate. My husband is into tech, and the first piece of advice he gave me was just apply to the top 5 schools. I'm glad I did not listen to that because that's not how dentistry works. So go ahead and get, like, have a set of people to talk to, really. And it's just a very, very small phase. The minute you get into dental school, Leena and people like Leena will contact you to give an interview, just like how I'm doing it right now. And it's an amazing feeling.
Yeah, we'll definitely. So this is our first in the alumni series, and I hope it helped you understand the future aspects of DDS better. Guys, our agenda as a team of Caapid Simplified is to guide you throughout the admission process. And believe me, the whole is the sum of its part. Embrace yourself in all those diversities. So, Swetha, if anyone wants to reach out to you or viewers for any queries, is there any Instagram handle you want to share here?
I have I mean, Instagram is for photos and things like that. So they can definitely contact me on Facebook. I'm not too active on Facebook Messenger, but yeah, if they do need some information, or if they have an interview and they want to know more about UCSF, I'll be very, very happy to help them. My name is, I mean, is there a way for me to post the link?
Yeah,
They can find me on Facebook.
Yeah, I can actually post your name in the description of the video.
Yeah, they will be able to find me.
Yeah, but I want to thank you for, doing this with us, collaborating with us, with, providing first-hand perspective for UCSF School of Dentistry. And thank you for taking out time and doing this with us. And I wish you all the best for future. And do let us know, keep in touch about what happens next.
Oh, for sure, Leena. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. I've never done this before, and it's just very new.